Hey guys, so Saga Press just this last month released an omnibus of this serial story originally published on a site called serialbox.com. This is season 1 of Bookburners, written in episodes alternated between these 4 different writers: Max Gladstone, its creator, Mur Lafferty, Margaret Dunlap, and Brian Francis Slattery. This is the story of a Vatican-run team that seeks out magic after it's been unleashed into the world, usually brought on by ancient books by not-so-reputable people or just by people who don't realize what they're doing, and the Bookburners' newest recruit, Sal Brooks. This is a fun, episodic story with characters and a plot that grew on me the more I got into it. We begin with an episode focused on Sal's brother, Perry, who finds himself ensnared with a demon-possessed book that he was never meant to have. This is the general way of things in this story. People in a variety of situations come across or actively search for these books that hold this unknown, generally evil or dark magic. It's what the Societas Librorum Occultorum, or Society for short, was made for, and more specifically in the case of these books, the Society's Team 3, and this is who Sal encounters as she's sucked into her brother's problems. Sal is a cop. She's naturally inquisitive, curious, and active. She's the perfect fit, it seems, for Team 3 after they see her and how she handles things in the first episode. The team is already made up of Father Menchu, a pragmatic priest who's moral to a fault, Grace, this hard, unforgiving, quick martial artist, Asante, the blunt, outspoken, and very kind librarian for the Vatican's Black Archives, and Liam, a misfit, moody tech specialist that likes to crack jokes. And we follow them as they all get to know Sal, and as she gets to know them, while they attempt to stop a variety of magical occurrences that could possibly end with the destruction of a specific person, a town, a city, or the world. Their goal is to find every book they possibly can with magic in it and lock it up for good in the Vatican's Black Archives. Constantly, they fight with the idea that any form of magic can be used for good. Some, not in the society necessarily, do think they can either use these books for benevolent purposes or that they can control whatever magic or demon comes out, but they're consistently proven wrong, it seems. We see a well-meaning man want only to bring his neighbor's daughter's dreams to life. We see a bookstore vanish suddenly without a trace, a restaurant that may just be too good for people to handle, a magical black market filled with outliers and unknowns that cannot be controlled, creepy monsters, horrible illusions, demonic beings, and much, much more. So like I said, this was a lot of fun, and as simple as that may be, I think that's probably the best thing about it. Each episode, especially towards the beginning, has its own little story arc with a beginning, a middle, and an end, and kind of works how you'd expect an episode of something like Doctor Who or something to work. Each sort of contributes to an overall story, and it really heats up towards the end, bringing it all together and into a satisfying conclusion. But really, they're also meant to stand alone as individual occurrences, and over time, we get to know the characters. Some episodes feature certain characters over others, and really a couple of my favorite episodes were those where we really get to learn more about Team 3. Sal is the main character, and she's well-written and in general has a grasp on herself and who she is and what she's doing, but she can also be a bit abrasive and doesn't always make the right decisions and can sometimes be like a frustrating lens to see things with, so getting bigger bits with the other characters was really nice. So you eventually come to know all of their backstories, each of those stories sort of introduced and brought up organically within the story and in some interesting ways, and I appreciated these 4 authors' ability to keep these characters consistent throughout all of their writing for the most part. I mean, that isn't always the case. The character Liam, I think, is especially noticeably different depending on who's writing him, and the beginning episodes do show more style variation in general than they do in the later episodes. Everything really did feel much more cohesive as the story unfolded, and they all got more of a handle on what they were doing. I guess maybe reading each other's episodes helped them to write their own. and there are 16 total episodes, and each wrote 4 of them. And my personal favorites were Max Gladstone's, for the most part. The first episode written by him is actually easily one of the weakest, but his other 3 are really great. Mur Lafferty's episodes were all fairly succinct and focused and well written. I think Max Gladstone, being the creator of this, has the best understanding of the characters and the story being told here. But Mur Lafferty's character interactions and plotting per episode was some of the best in this. I thought Margaret Dunlap was fine. None of hers really stood out to me all that much, to be honest. And I thought the same of Brian Francis Slattery's too, though his descriptions really stood out to me, even from his first episode. He used the most descriptive language, though I think his character stuff was a bit weird at the beginning. But then his last 2 episodes actually stood out to me quite a bit, though I'm not sure if that was more his writing specifically, or where the overall story was at and where it was going. They all worked together well in general, despite some issues in pacing, some blandness of a couple episodes here or there, and the shaky beginning it has getting on its feet, getting into the meat of the story, getting them all to sound similar but distinct, etc. They did well, but I'm positive the second season will be better now that they've gotten through this one. And I'm just excited to see where the story goes. There's honestly so much they could do with it, plot-wise or character-wise. I mean, it does kind of remind me of the first season of some TV shows. This one really introduces everything, the possibilities, but they haven't quite gotten into the meat of the story, what it's all about, what it could possibly grow into and become, is still left out in the open and needs to be answered in later seasons. It's a bit simple, I think, because of the episodic format, and sometimes the writing felt like filler and not like it was contributing to something more important. It's a good start. And I do recommend giving it a shot if you're interested in a fantasy set in our world surrounding books and dark magic that absolutely has the potential to grow into something even better than what this one was. And it's fun. Like I said, it really is. It's fun. And it's got a lot of action, and I'm sure there's more of that to come. This is the kind of thing you can really pick up once a day, read an episode, and feel satisfied. Or you could binge it, but I mean, either way, prepare for a thick 800 pages of entertainment. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you've come across this in its original form, in the cereal box form, or after it being published like this, or if you've read anything else published by cerealbox.com or anything else published by these authors, I would love to know your thoughts on any of that. I've read Mur Lafferty now, 6 weeks, and I just posted a review of that book, and I have Max Gladstone to try out soon, his craft sequence books. So let me know what you think. Thanks, guys, and I will see you later with more.